Hello everyone, I'm going to try to start my YouTube channel by filming a tutorial on the new Naked Heat palette. So just bear with me, this is my first ever time being in front of a camera doing anything, so see how this goes. Okay, so I always like to start off just by moisturizing and then priming my skin. This is the Urban Decay De-Slick Complexion Primer. It's their new one. I haven't really decided if I like it yet, but I'm still using it. And right, so I always do my eyes first just to get rid of any fallout, but I still like to put moisturizer on and primer first just to let that settle into the skin while I'm doing my eye makeup. So to prime my eyes, I use the Glossier Stretch Concealer, and then I set it with just some general loose powder. This is the CoverGirl Professional Loose Powder in Translucent Light. So for this, I add some drops of maracuja oil into the concealer just to make sure it's nice and creamy and hydrating for my eyes. And then I just kind of mix it up. I don't really know what brush this is. It's Coastal Scents BRB SO3. So I just take this, pack it on my eyes like this. And then I take my damp Real Techniques sponge and I just blend it in. And then before it creases, I just take another same shaped kind of brush as that and I set it with the loose powder just to make sure the eyeshadows glide around smoothly. They don't stick patchily. I'm going to try not to show you all the steps because I don't know how to edit videos and I don't know how to do that speedy uppy process, so it'd probably be a really long video of just watching me blend stuff in and everything, so you're welcome. Okay, so now I am taking just a general kind of blending brush. I got this in my Upstates. That's really my favorite blending brush ever. And I'm going to dip into the shade Chaser in the Naked Heat palette. So I'm just gonna put that up in my crease very lightly, picking up as little product as I can just to make sure it doesn't get too heavy. You know the drill. Just using very small circular windshield wipe motions. Just keep building up that product. See the difference? Kind of just buffing that up towards my eyebrow too, just so it's a nice smooth transition for all the other colors I'm going to lay down. Okay, so now that we have a nice crease, I'm just going to take my color switch to change the colors. Using the same exact brush, I'm going to dip into Sauced. It's the one right next to the one I just used, that one there. And I am just going to put this in my crease, but a little bit lower than that first color we used, Chaser. So I'm just going to keep building up the crease. So far these colors are performing very well. They're blending easily, they're very pigmented. I'm actually pretty surprised. I should say this is also kind of a first impressions considering this is the first time I've even touched this palette. I got it like an hour ago. Okay, now that I have a nice crease built up, I am going to pick up, sorry this is really dirty, but it's like just for building up color. I'm going to use my color switch again to get rid of all that blue I used from yesterday. I use this brush to dip into this shade right here, Cayenne. And I'm just going to start building up the outer V and the inner V because I'm going to do a halo eye for this look. Right now I'm just patting very gently, trying to blend as I go, but not too much because it's going to create a big mess. So I'm just placing product here right now. That's all I'm doing. So now that looks like a crazy mess, I'm going to grab the brush I just had, this blending brush, and I'm going to dip into our two transition shades again, just to blend this out so it's nice and seamless. I'm picking up Sauce right now, which is the more red one. So now I'm just going back and forth and blending out any harsh lines that I have. But I'm still leaving the lid open to create that halo eye look. I am noticing with these darker shades that this is starting to get a little bit harder to blend out. They're kind of sticking on the ends, and it's taking a lot of force to move them. So that's just a FYI if you want to get this palette. What I'm going to do, because this is creating a weird shape, not the shape I want, is I'm going to take that same brush I used to put concealer on, and then I'm just going to create a shape with my loose powder, so then none of the shadow is going to get in any place that I don't want it. Same brush that I used to put in the Cayenne shade, I'm going to use my color switch again. And then now I'm going to dip into En Fuego. And I'm going to do the same exact thing as I did with Cayenne. Just add a little bit to the outer and inner V. It's all blended for the most part. I'm going to take this smudge brush. It's just kind of a small flat brush. And I'm going to dip into the purpley shade, Ashes. And I'm just going to keep building up that inner and outer V. And I just want it to be more tightly compact this time, because I don't want this dark shade all over my lid. It'll add a nice amount of definition. Only about that much. Blending brush. Again, dipping into Chaser, one of those transition shades. I'm going to blend this out, but I'm mainly going to focus on the inner and outer V. I'm not going to try to bring it up so high into my crease this time. Back in with that same little smudge brush, picking up Ashes again, that purple tone, and I'm just going to keep building this up to the desired darkness that I want. Now that that's as dark as I want it, I am going to dip into the Chaser, that transition shade we use, and I'm just going to blend out these edges up here just to make sure that it's nice and blended together and there's no harsh lines. It doesn't have to be very neat or anything, but you just want to make sure that there's no harsh lines and it's pretty blended out. It helps with creasing, especially with you ladies with hooded eyes like me. We get a lot of transfer with that sparkle shade up into our crease. Not a good look. I want to keep this look a little bit more, not natural, but not so heavy and dark. So I'm going to dip into this shimmer shade, Lumber. It's more Lumbre. I have no idea. It's a little bit lighter than the rest and it's more pink toned. On the other side of the brush we used with the concealer, the flat brush, I'm just going to flip it over and dip into Lumbre and pack that onto my lid where we put the concealer. Already getting a little bit of creasing on this eye, so I'm going to go back in with same blending brush that we've been using, and I'm going to dip into En Fuego again and just kind of blend over the shimmer shade where it creased so it looks not as creasy. Alright, that almost completes the eyes. I'm going to move on to foundation right now, and then I'll finish up the lower lash line and lashes and brows and all that. So I totally forgot about the little baking we're doing here on the side, so just taking a clean fluffy brush like this, and I'm gonna dust away that leftover powder that we put on there. I don't know if you can tell, but there's a bit of a harsh line on this side. This side's fine, so I'm just gonna take the blending brush we've been using and blend this out a little bit, just so it matches this eye. Since I was blessed with large pores, I use this Tarte Clean Slate Timeless Smoothing Primer, and this is kind of gross, but take the back of my nail and dip into here and just put a little bit on the spots where I have big pores. I just use my hand to rub it in. Right, this is also gross, but for foundation I have the Charlotte Tilbury Light Wonder foundation. I have it in number 3, Fair. It's way too light for me, so I take the Body Shop shade adjusting drops, and I just squeeze both out onto my vanity. It's like, I'll show you. Glass finish, so I just squeeze these out and mix them together with my finger and then put them on my face. To make sure that I mixed up the right shade, I just put it on my cheek like this. Make sure it matches. I got some of that super dark liquid on my face. Anyways, just make sure it matches my face, and then I just dot it all around, paying extra attention to the places where I'm really red. And since this is more of like a sheer coverage foundation, I have to add a little bit more than I usually would. Oh, I just got foundation all over my phone. Whatever, it's fine. Now that that's all on there, I just take damp Real Technique sponge and buff it in. I don't use concealer under my eyes anymore because it always made me look super washed out, and I only did it because everybody else did it. So I kind of just make sure that I take the corner of my damp sponge and make sure to really get up underneath my eyes. It'll help cover up any redness or not dark circles, and it'll help with any fallout that fell down when we were doing our eyes. Now that I have my mask on, it looks really patchy on camera for some reason, but I promise it doesn't look that way in real life. I'm gonna do brows now. I use Anastasia Brow Wiz in dark brown, and what I like to do is comb down all my brow hairs. Just wait, I know it's weird. And then I line the top of them with the Brow Wiz. And then I comb them back up and fill them in like normal. That just creates like a definite shape on the top because I'm pretty sparse on the top of my eyebrows. Putting them in, I don't really extend my brow line at all. I just kind of fill in what I already have and make sure to comb out the product just so it's not too heavy and dense. And then when I get up towards the front of the brow, I draw a line on the bottom and then a couple lines connecting it into the actual brow, and then I use the spoolie to brush it in, and then it looks natural. Now that those are done, I'm going to, before I set my face, I'm going to try the new Stila Heavens Hue highlighter in the shade Kitten. It's like the new spongy one. It's not weird. This is my first time using this too. So I'm just going to try to take my finger, rub it on here a bunch, and then kind of stamp it on my cheekbone with my finger. See if that does anything. I'm quickly finding out, instead of stamping, you more want to kind of push on an angle, and then it builds up pretty nicely. Definitely don't want to try this if you've already set your foundation. It really helps that my foundation is still pretty wet. Now that I have everything placed where I want it to be, I'm just going to take the same sponge again and kind of very, very gently buff it in. I guess that's pretty nice. Very gently, or it's going to take off the product. That's what it's doing for me right now. Decent. I'm going to try to take a stiffer brush and dip it into here, just see if it gives me some more payoff, because I mean, this is nice, but it's subtle, and I don't really like subtle highlighters. This isn't really doing much either. It's really disappointing. I heard the good things about this from Jeffree Star. Right, I don't know how I feel about this highlighter. First of all, it's too dark for me. You can see the line where it is. And it's like, it's there, but it's not there. That really sucks. It was like 40 bucks. Now to set my face, I'm just going to take a powder brush. This one's from Alpha. It was like $3, but it's still nice. And I'm still using that CoverGirl powder. And what I like to do, since I don't conceal, is I take my damp sponge, dip it into my powder, and then I just stamp it into the places where I want it to be extra matte. See the difference? It adds coverage too. Don't necessarily bake, but I just stamp it in there. Careful to not hit your highlighter. You don't want that to be any duller than it is. And then I do this for my forehead. And then I do it for my chin. Most of the time I like to drag it down onto my cheek, just because that's where it gets oily a lot. Under my lip too. On top of my lip, sorry. With that powder brush, I'm just going to set the rest of my face so my bronzer and my contour don't stick. You saw that I used way too much powder. It was even on my shoulder, but anyways, got the job done. So now I am taking my Morphe E59 and my It Cosmetics bronzer, and I'm just gonna swirl that in there and lightly dust my cheeks just to warm it up a little bit, putting it in my temples, lightly putting it on my forehead. I'm just kind of using circular motions because I have the habit of making a bronzing helmet, or whatever you call that, where it's just like a thick block of just bronze. So I like to try to avoid that now. It's not a good look. I'm taking my Morphe M104, it's just like a sculpting brush, and then I have my Inglot sculpting powder in my little Sephora Z palette. And I used to have like very fair shade and it was cool toned, and then I got this one because they were all out of the other one I had, and it's really dark, so I'm just kind of using the little dust I still have left from that other Inglot powder. I just mixed them together, I guess. So I'm taking a little bit on my brush and very lightly building up the shape of my cheekbones. Once you have the desired amount of cutness, I guess, I like to take a little bit on same brush and contour my jaw a little bit, just so it's a little more defined. And also bring it down underneath my chin to get rid of my double chin. And then same thing on the other side. Make sure to bring it down onto your neck, because then it'll look like you have a beard if you don't. The nose contour, I only use the lightest powder, and I take a little teeny tiny bit on my brush and I just outline it, only touching it very gently. This is pigmented stuff, guys. Pigmented stuff. See the difference already? Just gonna do that on the same side. Other side, sorry. I don't know what I'm saying. Blending that down, the bridge of my nose, or whatever that's called, so it doesn't look crazy. Then the nose looks cut. For blush, I take this little tiny nub of a brush I used to use to contour with until it got all crazy. I don't know if you can see all the hairs coming out of there, but needless to say, it broke. And then I have the Tarte Blush in Exposed. It's a very nice neutral color for any look you're doing. Rub that around in there, and I just put it in between my highlighter and my contour, blending it back. Use a very light hand because I tend to go very overboard on the blush. I don't know why. I feel like a lot of people have that problem. For the bottom lash line, I'm going to take that same smudge brush I used to put on the exposed color, that dark purple, in my outer and inner V. And I'm going to start with one of the transition shades I used, Sauced. And I'm just going to lightly pack that underneath my eye. I'm just going to try to stay as close to the lash line as I can because I'm going to go out later and blend that out, buff it out so it looks very airbrushed. Halo wise, I don't really like to make the halo thing on the bottom. I think that looks weird just having random sparkles in the bottom, so I just put all the colors underneath pretty much. Okay, so now that that's there, I'm gonna take Cayenne, that red shade, same brush, gonna try to get even closer to the lash line this time. So now to make that look nice and smoky, I'm going to take, I lost my blending brush. One sec. Okay, I found it. I'm gonna take that same sauced color, dust it off a lot, and just blend these two out. I just want to smoke out the edges. I don't want it to go anything super crazy, if you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Blending these out. So now, looks more smoky. With that same smudge brush, I'm going to take the dark purple ashes color, and I'm going to just put a little bit in my outer corner. Bring it up a little bit. Just so they match in intensity. Blending brush. Buff them out just a tiny bit. I've just decided that I don't think this looks dark enough. So I'm gonna take a really dense packer brush. This doesn't have a name, I don't know what it's, I don't even know what brand it is. I'm gonna take the dark purple exposed color again and build up that outer and inner V even more. There we go. Blend that out with that same blending brush. I don't know if it's just the color combination I used, but it seems to me like it's not adding any definition no matter how much I add. Like, it's just all blending into the same color, which is really weird because I heard good things about this palette, and if colors really are blending away into nothing, I'm gonna be upset. It looks a little bit better. That's weird. This shape is getting weird again. Promise I'm not usually like this. I think it's this palette which is disappointing. I'm just gonna take my finger this time. Ooh. And tap a little bit, covering up the parts that I don't want to be there, so it creates a better shape. Do that for both sides. While I let that sit there, I'm gonna curl my lashes. I honestly don't know if this does anything, but I've just always done it, so now I just always continue to do it. Now, Too Faced Better Than Sex, you know what it is. Just taking a light coat of that to blend my lashes in with the false lashes. Just a teeny tiny bit. I'm gonna take just a black, pencil liner, and I'm going to tightline the inside of my lashes. And I'm gonna do the same for the waterline on the bottom. This is the only non-liquid black eyeliner that I own, and it's the Marc Jacob ones, and it's a sample, and I'm pretty sure it's like 100 years old, so it's starting to poop out. But that's fine, I can work with it. Alright, that's as good as it's gonna get. I'm just gonna take the same mascara and coat my bottom lashes. Of course, I got it on my foundation. What I do is I just let that dry, and then I take a Q-tip and I just kind of flake it off, and it flakes off. It's really nice. So don't try to get rid of it when it's wet. Wait till I'm taking Madame Wispy eyelashes by Cocoa Lashes, and I'm just using regular Duo lash adhesive. And 1 second, I dropped my lash. If you have any special way of putting lash glue on like everybody else does, I just hold the lash in between my fingers and take a tiny bit out and just kind of coat it like this. I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing. Sorry. I'm new to this. Give me some slack. Okay, while I wait for those to get tacky, I'm actually going to try like a blue lip with this, just because I'm so like cool and unique. And I bought this today. It's the NYX Liquid Suede in, Jet Set, that's what it's called. It's like a really pretty purpley blue kind of color. This eye look is like really toned down for me. I usually use bright ass colors, as you know if you follow my makeup Instagram, so of course I gotta add in the blue lips to make it more me. I think I've ever used this formula before. I've used NYX but never the Liquid Suede, so this will be a real treat. I obviously don't have a blue lip liner or anything, so I'm just gonna go right in. Oh, this is a nice color. This formula seems pretty nice. It's not even that streaky considering it's blue. Huh. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm so in love with this color. The formula is nice too. I'm surprised, as I said. So now I just take a pair of tweezers, pick up my lashes, put them as close to my lash line as I possibly can. Not too hard. I'm very weirded out that I didn't use any eyeliner on the top, and that's because the only time I ever put eyeliner on the top is if I'm doing a winged eyeliner, because I have hooded eyes, so it just makes my eyes look really small and all you can see is the black eyeliner, so what's the point, right? While those lashes dry, I'm just going to, brush off that big. Leaves us with a nice shape. Worked pretty well. Alright, just because I feel like this highlighter is not popping enough, I still have to play around with it. I'm going to take the Anastasia Glow Kit in this yellow color. I don't know what it's called. I took it out of the palette because it literally fell apart. It was so weird. Just using a random fan brush and putting this on over top. That's way better. Even though it looks a little crazy, it's fine. Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. Alright, so this is the completed look. I tried to fix my hair so I looked a little bit more presentable, but after being under that headband for so long, my bangs were nasty looking. So this is the completed look. Off camera, I just went in with some little liquid eyeliner and did a thin line on top just to kind of cover up some of that white from the lash glue because I was too lazy to wait too long for it to dry. So I'm gonna try a different angle just to show you like a really up close on this eye look. Alright, so just bear with me. I have my camera turned around and the flash on just to show you up close and like with better lighting. I'm sorry this is probably gonna be such a janky video, but give me some slack. It's my first one. I'm sorry. I'll try to get better. Anyways, here's the look. Ignore my huge pores. It's really hard looking into this flash, so I'm gonna end this video and turn you around. Now that I'm blind from the flash, thank you guys for watching. Like this video, give me some support, subscribe to my new account. I'll film whenever I can again. I hope you guys like this. Sorry, I wasn't looking in the camera. I keep doing that. I know I did that in the entire video, but whatever. I'll get better, I promise. Thanks again. Bye, guys.